Welcome. Thanks for joining us. This is episode 4 of our new bi-weekly webinar series aimed at helping you grow your print business using today's best marketing tactics. I'm Rachel Neese. I'm the content manager here at Marketing Ideas for Printers. And before we get started with this week, I just have a couple of quick announcements I want to run through with you. First of all, this webinar happens every other Wednesday at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. And then on alternate Wednesdays, we also have the This Week in Odyssey webinar. That webinar is focused exclusively on our print MIS solution Odyssey, and it features, release notes, feature updates, bug fixes, pretty much anything and everything you would want to know about that print MIS solution. So if you're a current subscriber or you're just curious, I encourage you to check out that webinar. If you keep an eye out on your email, about every other Monday, you'll see an email come through with some registration links for those 2 webinars. So keep an eye out for that if you want to take or get involved with those. Today, we're going to look at 10 resolutions for the new year to help you sell more printing. We've got 20 days until Christmas, if you can believe it, and only 26 days until the end of 2018, the beginning of 2019. It's hard to believe, but I wanted to give you some time to see if you can focus on and tackle some of these resolutions to ensure a great 2019 for your print business. So the first one I got for you here is get social. You want to look at boosting your social media presence in the coming year. And to do that, you're going to need a few things. First, you're going to need the right tools. Social media requires frequent, consistent posting, and you're going to need the right tools to ensure that you can do that. Tools like the social media marketing content from Marketing Ideas for Printers, or the marketing tools within Odyssey. There's other tools like Hootsuite, Buffer, any of those that make scheduling your content a quick and easy thing to do so it's easy to maintain and keep your presence up on social media. Secondly, you're going to need to track your content. You need to know when, what, and how often you're posting. You could check out our webinar from a few weeks ago. I believe it's episode 2, that's all about tracking your content and how you can create a content calendar and those types of things. So if you want more information about how to track your content, that would be a good webinar for you to check out. Lastly, for boosting your social media presence, you want to focus on eye-catching visuals that are worth sharing. Better engagement with visuals, it will really help boost that presence for you online because it's stuff that people actually want to share. Here's a good example. Recently, we added some shareable content to our social media channels here at Marketing Ideas for Printers, and printers, you guys have responded actually quite well. And the reason that is because I believe they're eye-catching, they're shareable. You can take those images and put them on your own social media feeds quite quickly because they benefit you, speaking about, direct mail and those types of things using print. And you can do something very similar yourself. I mean, I won't keep secrets from you guys here, but those 2 images are made pretty simply by just going online, finding a statistic regarding direct mail. You could do it on, anything print related, color, design, anything like that. Put a nice, eye-catching graphic behind it, put your logo at the bottom there, and you have a simple thing that you can use on your own channels there. Then you can also tweak that for just small business, making it available for, who's your audience that's going to be looking at it. Is it something you could create then that they would share? So maybe just effective marketing practices, those types of things. You can pull in content from that would make it your content then shareable to their audience, to their friends, their other business friends. So those are just a few tips to help you boost that social presence this year in 2019. Resolution number 2 is to put some fresh eyes on your website homepage. So for this one, I want you to reach out to a friend or a colleague and say, hey, will you go online to my website and will you try and order a flyer or a business card or whatever? And then let me know how it went, what you found out, where did you get hung up, where were you confused, those kind of things. Did you find your way around all right? Those are some simple things you can do to have a friend do and get some fresh eyes on your website. You also want to avoid some common mistakes on your homepage. More than likely, your friend or your colleague who's checking this out might even point these out to you, but these are some common mistakes to avoid on your website. First of all, you don't have call to action buttons. So when they get online, what do you want them to do? Secondly, your sliders and your content talks all about yourself. Okay, same thing there. I know we've talked about this in the past, but that content should position the reader, your visitor, as the hero. How are you going to help them? An example of this is a few weeks ago, I had one of our printers reach out and was telling me about this award that they had listed on their website. And I was like, that's really cool. But, you know, so what? How does that benefit me? And so just tweaking that slightly on their homepage, you can still have those things that are about you, but make it, how does that thing that you won or that thing that you do make my life better as your print buyer? That's what you want to work on there. Lastly, avoid using printer speak. So if you're a website for printers subscriber, more than likely you have a call out on your website homepage that says printer at work. And if you don't have something that says our email newsletter, well, do your visitors know that Printer at Work is an email newsletter? Because by the name, they might not know that. So those are some common areas where you could just tweak the wording on your website just slightly to make it more clear and point out what those things are. Just briefly, a side note there for that Printer at Work one, a good tip for that one is, you know, when you're writing the content for that call out box for sign up for our email newsletter, you can throw some keywords in there that are like, you know, print tips, marketing, inspiration for, you know, small business printing, anything like that. And just having those keywords there on your homepage is going to help boost your SEO. So you got two benefits there. You'll boost your SEO and you'll make things clear and more understandable for your website visitors. Lastly, for fresh eyes on your homepage, make the path clear. What do you want your visitor to do once they get to your site? So if you want them to call you for an estimate, make sure that that is your call to action and it's on your sliders and around your site. If you want them to start designing online, then Design Edit or, you know, your design software should be in your sliders or on your call out there. Again, with this one, remember, your audience is not going to know what Design Edit is, you know, when it's referred to that way. So make it simple with just, you know, get started designing online here, or start your whatever creative masterpiece here, those types of things, and make it super clear for them which direction you want them to take on your site. Resolution number 3, evaluate your productivity. This is where you kind of take an overall look at your whole print business and how everything is going to see how you can make it more productive. So from order entry point to exit point to everything in between, does a print job make it through your shop as smoothly and as efficiently as possible? And if not, where are things getting hung up? So you want to explore the pitfalls. Where are things getting hung up in your productivity? And then, second point there is a little harder, but you have to be willing to change the things that aren't working, okay? This is where you're going to throw out that, well, this is the way we've always done it. This is the way my dad did it. This is the way the previous owner did it, okay? That doesn't mean it's right. You have to examine the pitfalls and see and be willing to change the things that aren't working. And lastly, along with that, it takes work to better anything. So being willing to accept the effort that it's going to take to make those changes and help with those pitfalls is going to take a little effort on your part. Felipe Martinez from Save More Digital Printing, he's one of our customers. He kind of went through this process somewhat when he was implementing Odyssey. And here's what he said. He said, Odyssey had us walk through our resources to make sure we were running as smoothly and cost efficient as possible. See, he was evaluating his productivity there. Odyssey helped us implement some shipping changes that saved us 30% on shipping. And here's the sentence I really want you to grab. You don't see growth like that without being forced to look. So consider this kind of your little nudge to take a look at that and see where you can evaluate your productivity in the coming year. Moving on. Resolution number 4, put your pricing online. Okay, now before you get mad at me and tune me out for saying that, I know this can be a hot topic for printers, but stick around. The days where prices are revealed through, private conversations or phone calls are kind of behind us, and it's important to talk about that and explain why. So I threw this one in here because I'm just continually surprised at the resistance of printers to put their pricing online. It's almost as if printers are, scared of their own prices, and if you're fearful of your pricing, your customers are going to be too. So know your value. Okay, don't be afraid to say we charge this much and this is why. I've said this before as well. You'll be surprised at how much, more people are willing to pay if they just understand the reason behind it. So give them a reason and then stand behind it. I know my value and this is why I charge this much. Secondly, give them what they want. Customers want to know, so it's important to give them what they want. When you don't put pricing on your website, it just kind of naturally gives that impression of, well, if they're not telling me, it must be really expensive, and therefore I just can't afford it anyway, so I'll go someplace else. It's important to realize here that customers and consumers today don't have as much of the gatherer, mindset that they did years ago. They have more of that hunter mindset. They know what they want. They're going online. They're going straight to where they need to be. They want to know the price. They want to know the information, and they want to check out on their own. It's kind of like this whole self-checkout revelation that you see in, Walmart and these other stores. Customers want to be able to make it through that process on their own. And so if you're not allowing them to go through that process, if they hit a roadblock when they get to your website because they don't know your pricing, they're going to click on over to a printer that does show their pricing because they know they can afford it or they know it's worth it, those types of things. So get your pricing out there. I'm going to just kind of, stick on that one for a second. Lastly, you're going to save yourself a ton of time by giving your customers the information that they want up front. So your customers are going to be able to get further down the sales funnel on their own because that information is already at their fingertips. Next one, number 5, work to get your name out there. So this one's all about communication. If you're not communicating with your customers at all, it only makes sense that they would rarely communicate with you. So how are you communicating with your customers? I want you to take a look at that, or encourage you to do that in 2019. You can communicate through social media, through email, through direct mail, those types of things. Keep an eye on those to get your communication out there. You want to reach out with consistent communication so they know who you are and what you have to offer. A good way to get started with this, and a good example of this, is our Fast Start direct mail package here at Marketing Ideas for Printers. It's a simple postcard, but it highlights a product each month, and it accomplishes exactly those 2 things that I just said. It tells your audience, hey, I'm here, I'm a printer, and here's what I print. So as always, if you're not using our services to help you sell more printing, then just find something that will accomplish those same objectives for you. Number 6, invest in customer service. We all know that fancy websites and marketing solutions, they mean nothing if your customers aren't satisfied with their experience with you. So put customer service at the forefront of everything you do. Make that your USP, or your unique selling proposition for 2019, that you're really going to focus in on that customer service. A good example of this for me is, I switched from a large national bank to a local bank because the customer service of that large name brand bank was so impersonal and frustrating. I mean, I just dreaded having to contact them for anything. And so eventually I left. And the same thing happened, a similar situation happened with my internet provider. Train your service team to provide that quality, excellent customer service always. It's going to pay dividends for you, and it's going to help build customer loyalty. You know, a quality team is going to make or break your business. So make sure you're taking the time to invest in your team members so that they're offering the best customer service that they can. Lastly, remember that good service starts from the top down. So your example of service to your team and to your customers is crucial, and it's seen and being watched by your team. So keep that in mind. Just a couple weeks ago, Dave, the president, as in the head honcho of marketing ideas for printers, he went out and he got me new wiper blades on my van on his lunch break and installed them for me after I showed up at the office that morning with a broken windshield wiper. I mean, that's the kind of above and beyond service I'm talking about. Could Dave just as easily given me the phone number for the local, auto parts store? Sure, he could, but no, he went above and beyond, actually got it for me, installed it for me. And will I ever go back to Dave for additional help? You bet I will. He might not like that as much, but you know what I'm saying. So here's a good one from Simon Sinek. Customers will never love a company until the employees love it first. So work on getting your team members to love your company, and it's going to spill over then to your customers and be really helpful for you. Next one, resolution number 7, model Print's effectiveness. So kind of going along those same lines of modeling, customer service to your team and to your customers, it's the same thing here. It's also important to model Print's effectiveness to your clients. If you believe in the power of print, you should be using print yourself. I mean, imagine if a health supplement supplier, for example, didn't use their own product because they didn't think it was worth it or it didn't work. I mean, it's a good chance that you wouldn't be using that product. And if they didn't believe in the product, why would you? This is the same. This is the same as true with print. If you want a business to use print marketing, if you want to encourage that business to use print marketing, you need to be using print marketing yourself. If you're writing, for example, or blogging about the power of monthly direct mail newsletter, but you're not using one yourself, you're going to lose your effectiveness there. So remember, you're the expert that they're watching. So be the example of the actions you want them to take. Number 8, seek out outside help. The reality is you're not going to grow much in a vacuum. You have to seek out trusted experts. You don't know everything. I don't know everything. We don't know everything. We have to seek out trusted experts. We can do that through, joining some Facebook groups, some online forums, those types of things, and actually participate by asking questions and learning from others. We just recently launched the Print Leaders Facebook group, and that's just set up as an environment for you guys to go on there and ask your questions of other printers, of other people that are in those same day-to-day trenches as you, and seek out that help. And also, number 3 there, to learn from others' mistakes. Some of the greatest learning comes from, seeing the mistakes of others. Number 9, make a decision to grow. This one is one of those where it's super easy to say, but it's not so easy to actually do. In 2019 here, I want to really encourage you guys to work to ditch the short-term surviving mindset that creeps up, and instead look for ways to be continually growing forward, avoiding complacency to really move and propel your print business forward. This is not the time to just sit back and let the printing industry and the trends happen to you. Okay, it's the time to step out and move forward, to take the time to get out of your business so that you can work on your business, getting out of that day-to-day grind and setting aside time to actually work on growing. What are you doing today that will put your print business in a better spot tomorrow, a year from now, and so on. Those are the things that I kind of wanted to encourage you with this resolution for 2019. Then, if it seems humongous, just break it down and implement one new thing. Implementing one new thing still means you're growing. It still means that you are farther along today than you were yesterday. So work on just finding that one thing and look to grow in that way. I'm going to leave you or tell you this quote here also from Dave. I mentioned him earlier, but when Dave and we started developing Odyssey, Dave kind of latched onto this quote, and he likes to use this one around here, and it says, "Change is scary, but staying the same is scarier." That's really appropriate in this case. Change is scary, but you have to step out and make that decision to grow, because if you don't, it's scarier. All right, number 10, last one. Foster encouragement. The hardest part about moving forward and making that decision to grow is working through the discouragement. I mean, as you guys probably know, as entrepreneurs, you know, if you've ever seen that graphic of the life cycle of an entrepreneur, you know, you have these great peaks and you have these deep valleys, you know, and it's kind of just this constant cycle. And so I just want to take a moment to encourage you and to let you know that in 2019, you need to be prepared to battle discouragement. You're going to face it. So just be prepared for that. That's why it's important to expect that encouragement or discouragement will come, and be ready to plan to battle against it. Don't let the encouragement bank at your print company run dry. And to avoid that, even go so far as to schedule time for encouragement into your day. At MI4P, the leadership team will frequently handwrite notes of encouragement to team members. So put it on your calendar, excuse me, put it on your calendar to write an encouraging note to a different employee each week or month. An example of this is if you're a task-oriented person like me, it might be harder for you to remember to purposely give encouragement. So you might need to take some drastic measures to make it easy on yourself. Here's what I did. I did this with my kids at home, and it has been a great reminder for me to purposely encourage my greatest team, my family. I launched Operation Praise and Encouragement. It even says up there at the top, if you can see that, corny or not, here I come. So, but you get the idea. The effects of encouragement within your team are powerful. So create a visual reminder, put a task in your to-do list, whatever you need to do to make sure you set aside time to encourage your team, and even your customers as well, that you encourage them. Lastly, as we come to a close, I wanted to make sure that I offered you some encouragement too. So often, when you're given inspiration, it comes in the form of, do this, start this, and it's always this action of, what you're supposed to do. But since I just gave you 10 things that you could do, I wanted to end with some very simple, no action required encouragement. So if no one has ever told you this, I want to be the one. Congratulations on making it this far with your print business. Seriously, think of from where you've come to where you're going. You've got this, and I want to encourage you that you can do this. Finally, as Helen Keller says, alone we can do so little. Together we can do so much. We, in this case, means all of us. It doesn't mean Marketing Ideas for Printers and our print customers. We means the printing industry as a whole that I'm referring to in this case. Together we can do so much, and I'm really excited to see all that we'll accomplish together in the future. Well, that's all I have for you today. Thanks for joining us on this Sell More Printing webinar. Our next webinar will be Wednesday, December 19th at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, if you are looking for more information about any of the tools or materials I mentioned here in this webinar, you can reach out to me at 701-241-9204. or email me directly at rachel.neese@mi4p.com. Thanks so much for joining us, and I hope to see you again in a couple weeks.